Part 99. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 1016. Dragon Messenger, Dragon Gym Leader. Okay, I know why you are here. The place here is relatively narrow, so you can only make do with it. 3 small benches were moved out around the small coffee table. Except for the Dragon Messenger Xiao Zhepeng and the Dragon Gym Leader Yun Zhenfei, the other 3 dragon trainers could only sit on the small benches. The scene at this time was inexplicably joyful. Even Yang Xiao and Gardewar, who were feeling lost and sad, couldn't help laughing. King Yang Tian, this one, is your sister, right? Trainer Kong Chen noticed Yang Xiao and Gardewar and couldn't help but exclaimed, the elite level Gardewar is amazing. And she is also very beautiful. She will definitely become a young talented beauty trainer in the future. The female trainer Lu Yeking who came with him praised him with admiration. Ha ha ha, thank you for your compliments. Xiao Yu, please help me pour a few cups of tea. Uncle Xia and the others must have had a hard time coming here. Okay, Yang Xiao ran to the kitchen with a bang. Although there were very few guests at home, there were so many big shots this time. Brother Yang Yu is indeed the most powerful. Yang Yu, let's not hide it, let's get straight to the point. On your way back from Mount Everest to Hangzhou, you attracted a lot of attention in the Elf Alliance and the entire aviation field in China, and it should be on the internet. There should be various auspicious reports. Xiao Zhepeng put his hands on his knees and said with a smile. Yang Yu looked quite embarrassed. In the elf world of China, the reason why dragon elves are so popular has a great connection with history and culture, and trainers in the history of China have always been working tirelessly on the exploration of dragons. The special effects of the ultimate dragon's heaven-shaking move, just the enlarged version of the supergiant Scarlet Gyarados that looks like the heaven and earth, can indeed attract the attention of countless people. There is no way, that scene, including Yang Yu, everyone has never seen it. Fortunately, the entire high-altitude area was under deployment by the aviation department at that time, and the flight path of the aircraft was not allowed to be close to Yang Yu's route back to Hangzhou. If not, I am afraid that all the passengers on the plane looked blankly at the shadow of the dragon god in the sky. That's no joke. So this time we want to ask you, King Yang Yushan, if you have developed a new move for the elves, which can materialize the power of the elves, even more exaggerated than the meteor swarm. Long, the leader of the gymnasium, Yun Zhenfei, stretched out his hand to make gestures, and his tone was like a student asking a teacher for advice. Huaguo's treasure-level trainer and the newly appointed Dragon Gym Master Huang had all appeared in the previous meeting, which shows that this incident can be said to have alarmed those elderly people. As a junior, Yun Zhenfei, in the research of dragon-type elf moves, it is obvious that Yang Yu is already ahead of him at this time. As the saying goes, the master is the teacher, and age is not used as a criterion for judgment. More importantly, Yang Yu is already the king. With the help of Gardewar, the tea was quickly served on the coffee table. Xiao Yu, come and listen. Xiao Yu, you should also want to know why I was able to rush back to Hangzhou so quickly, Yang Yu said with a smile. As for the power of Z, now that Brother Xia has come personally and the leader of the Dragon Gym Yun Zhenfei has come, Yang Yu no longer has the need to hide it. More importantly, because Yang Yu already has this ability, keep this power in your own hands. Just like some extremely rare elves, if you don't have the ability to protect the elves, they may be robbed by other trainers. Elf megastones are extremely precious resources in the entire elf world. The appearance of each elf megastone without sufficient power is likely to cause a bloody battle. This is the importance of elf resources. Brother, could it be the one you said before? Yang Xiao carefully moved a stool from the room, then sat next to Brother Yang Yu, and at the same time stretched out his hand to make gestures. The power of 7, Xiao Zhepeng looked at Yang Xiao's movements suspiciously, and then followed suit. 7, Yun Zhenfei looked confused. Do you have this kind of power? Yang Yu couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth. In the impression in his mind, there really was such a power, and it was also a power brought by will. Is this Z? The little girl is gesturing for the letter Z. Female trainer Lu Yeking raised her eyebrows slightly, but her eyes were also blank. I know this is the letter Z. But what does this mean? What does this Z mean? Yang Yu smiled and nodded in the direction of Xiao Yu, and then said in a voice that everyone could hear, yes, Xiao Yu, that's the Z power. I succeeded. The tone was so bland. Especially the 4 words I succeeded seemed to have an inexplicable sense of vicissitudes of life. The story here must be very, very long. Brother, that must be very difficult. The scene at this time seems to have started a cross-talk between Yang Yu and Yang Xiaoyu. For Xiao's Hepeng and the others, what is said here is exactly like playing a riddle, 7 is not 7 or Z is not Z. What are you talking about? Why can't we understand a word of it? Degree degree, degree degree, degree degree, degree degree, degree degree. Confused. Yang Yu, can you explain to us what is Z power? Xiao's Hepeng's heart seemed to start beating rapidly for some reason. He had a hunch that what Yang Yu said today would probably open a new chapter for the entire elf world. That kind of power, even if it allows him to use the most powerful and largest meteor swarm on the king-level dragon, may not be as shocking as the moves performed by the Gyarados. To know. Dragon Messenger Xiao's Hepeng's heavenly king-level dragon is the ace elf of the most powerful heavenly-level trainer in China. How long did it take for that Gyarados to be promoted to king? If such a dragon-type move was performed by Kuai Long, how terrifying would such power be? Xiao's Hepeng's heart as a trainer, which had been silent for a long time, began to be filled with passion again at this moment, as if he had returned to decades ago. Perhaps if you look at something, it might feel more intuitive. Dumb. There was no room for Dede in the living room, so Yang Yu could only summon Dede in his room. When Dede took out the Z bracelet in his hand, everyone's eyes, including Yang Xiao's, were completely fixed on this extremely exquisitely polished bracelet. Isn't this a mega bracelet? Kong Cheng and Yang Binrui, the gym-level trainers who came, looked at each other and said in unison. Wait a minute, don't be anxious, trainers. Look carefully, this bracelet looks different from the mega bracelet. Gym leader Yun felt a glimmer of brightness in his deep eyes for an instant. This is. The light comes from the gray-blue diamond-shaped crystal on the Z bracelet. This is the Z bracelet. The crystals inlaid on it are what I call Z pure crystals. The effect of using them together. The volume of Yang Yu's words suddenly increased. Just like the mega bracelet or the elf mega stone, the trainer and the elf's hearts and powers become one, stimulating the elf's potential and allowing the elf's moves to complete the upgrade of Z power. The upgraded moves, I call them Z moves, or another term, super moves. Super move, Yun Zhenfei exclaimed. At this moment, the 5 dragon trainers present above the gym level, including Xiao's Hepeng, including Yun Zhenfei, their hearts suddenly seemed to skip a beat. The dragon-type Z move used by Gyarados. Yang Yu paused for a moment, took a breath, and looked at the big bosses one by one. The ultimate dragon, shock. Heaven. Earth. The living room was silent. Pokémon's character master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 1018. The air was suddenly quiet. The atmosphere became awkward. Xiao's Hepeng felt that some of the white hair on his temples seemed to be blown up in this extremely embarrassing atmosphere. For a moment, he didn't know how to speak. The ultimate dragon, shaking the world? His. How old is this little brother Yang this year? He is already a king. How can he still be childlike, so middle-aged? In the living room, except for Yang Xiao who didn't think there was anything strange about brother Yang Yu, The other 5 older trainers all began to look more and more sluggish. Yang Yu. Yun Zhenfei felt that he was listening to Yang Yu's introduction so carefully, but at the end, the name of a secondary move suddenly jumped out of Yang Yu's mouth. Is it possible that if the elf masters it in the future, at his age, he can shout the ultimate dragon shakes the world to his opponents? Grass, an attribute. How much courage does this take? This is nothing for the young man. After all, it is quite impressive to shout it out. If you directly use this move, you have never heard of it, and the name of the move is a bit explosive, which can scare the opponent's trainer. By the way, Yun Zhenfei remembered some of Yang Yu's trainer resume. He had read some stories about Yang Yu's deeds in college, such as during the school's first freshman qualifying competition, sleeping with 403 the roommates yelled out moves together, but Yang Yuxianwang didn't feel embarrassed anyway. Then it doesn't matter. But what about Yun Zhenfei? The Dragon Gym leader, isn't he shameless? Cough 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 cough. For a moment, in this awkward atmosphere, one by one, the trainers began to cough in unison to cover up their inner embarrassment. At the same time, they looked at each other a few times with eyes full of question marks. It turned out that the eyes of other people were also full of small questions. Question mark. It's okay, it's okay. It seems that it is not my problem alone. What do you think, Master Yun? Yang Yu has no other ideas. It may be difficult for the elders in front of him to accept this fact for a while, because the birth of a new Z power that can have the same status as the super evolution of elves takes time to understand. Just like Darkrai. The nightmare god of the elf world is probably still unable to let go of the power displayed by the Salted Fish King. That is the absolute power that can make a king-level elf reach the level of god. Perhaps, it is also the power of Crown. Z Bracelet, Z Pure Crystal, Z Move. Even though Yun Zhenfei wanted to spit out a lot of words, his eyes fell on the small coffee table in front of him. Yang Yu's Z Bracelet, and the Z Pure Crystal inlaid on the Z Bracelet, were right in front of all of them. Can we pick it up and take a look? Dragon Messenger Xiaozhepeng pondered for a while and asked in a requesting manner. Certainly. Yang Yu did not refuse. Regarding Z bracelets and Z pure crystals, simply obtaining such elf props will have no effect if you don't know how to use them. The same principle as Megastone. In the history of the Elf Alliance, the elf Megastones were just used as fossil collections at the beginning. If it were not for an accident, the elf world might not have discovered the role of Megastones until decades or even hundreds of years later. Currently, only Yang Yu knows how to use Z Pure Crystal and Z Bracelet. If you want to use Z moves, you must have Z Pure Crystals that match the attributes of the elf, and the most important thing is the unity of mind between the trainer and the elf. However, you still have to take your time with that all-out stance in the future. This is a move that presses the bottom of the box. Yang Yu will not use it recklessly until the critical moment. Otherwise, you will be the one who suffers. Thanks. Xiaozhepeng expressed his sincere thanks. They are very lucky to be able to hold the Z bracelet and Z pure crystal in their hands and watch them. Yang Yu can show them to them. Indeed, this is a very big favor. To be honest, the ultimate dragon shakes the world is just the name of the move. If you put it into words, this move sounds very crazy and cool. As for the remaining 3 words, it is really shaking the sky. June I don't see, the divine dragon's appearance comes up from the sky. If the speed of more than 3 times the speed of sound is combined with the substantial damage of dragon power, at least, Xiaozhepeng has a hunch that even Boss Cordera or Super Steel Snake, which have the strongest defense capabilities, may not be able to can withstand such an impact. Because the residual power of the move will inevitably cause a fatal earthquake. If you really have the opportunity to touch Z power and Z moves, why don't you care if the name is not right? Those things in children's cartoons, all kinds of flashy and messy ultimate moves, isn't it that the more accurate the name, the more powerful the move? There is still some truth to this. Yoon Genfei gradually began to accept the setting of the Z move. After all, Yang Yu discovered and made this thing first, but how did Yang Yu know that the Z pure crystal could be embedded in the Z bracelet, and can it have a magical effect with elves like the elf megastone? 5 older trainers surrounded each other. There were 2 trainers on Xia's Hepeng's left and right sides, just like children gathering to look at babies. Moreover, the narrow space made the scene even more joyful. It's very finely polished. It is indeed similar to the Mega Bracelet, but the place where the Z pure crystal is inlaid, Yang Yu, can this Z pure crystal be removed? Xia's Hepeng asked carefully. With such an advanced elf prop and this mysterious pure crystal, Xia's Hepeng did not dare to move it. Instead, he held it carefully in his hand and was very careful when touching it, for fear of breaking the corners. It can be dismantled. I personally think that a Z bracelet can be equipped with Z pure crystals of different attributes. This one is currently embedded with Z pure crystals with dragon attributes. Yang Yu nodded while thinking about it. Words of speech. Regarding the Z bracelet and Z pure crystal, he couldn't speak too absolutely, but said it in a considerate tone. This will make everyone believe it more. For new things, it still takes time to quickly accept them. It's up to you to say so, because currently you are the only one with the ability to activate the Z move, and we are all in the dark. We only know that there is such a thing, and we don't know anything else, Yoon Genfei said. He waved his hand and continued. We are not stubborn old antiques. Especially when you, a king-level trainer who is less than 22 years old, appeared, we knew that times were about to change. It's okay. It may take some time to buffer this Z power. Information. Yang Yu took the Z bracelet from Xia's Hepeng and disassembled the Z pure crystal on it, revealing the original surface of the Z bracelet. During the process of Yang Yu's disassembly, Xia's Hepeng, Yoon Genfei and other 5 trainers looked worried, because Yang Yu's lavish dismantling movements really made them sweat. In fact, although the shape of Z pure crystal is rhombus and relatively tapered, it is an ore with a hardness comparable to diamond after all, and it will not be affected at all when it is disassembled. However, what these 5 older trainers see is the hope of the beginning of the era. If something goes wrong with the Z pure crystal, even if they may not have fully accepted the news of Z power, they are still afraid of it. Just in case. Yang Yu's hands shook. What should I do if it was broken? But they may not know that if Yang Yu breaks it, there will not only be spare dragon type Z pure crystals, but also several other Z pure crystals with different attributes. The really important thing should be this inlaid groove. No wonder, this natural groove seems to be prepared for Z pure crystal, Kong Cheng exclaimed. The elven world is indeed very magical. The exploration of human trainers still cannot be called understanding the elven world, Yang Binrui nodded repeatedly. Incredible craftsmanship. Lu Yeking carefully stretched out her hand to make a fit between the Z pure crystal and the Z bracelet, and continued to sigh. Perhaps it was this incomparable fit that made King Yang Yushin realize that such a mysterious prop, can it create a resonant connection between trainers and elves like the elf megastone. Yang Yu's expression did not change and he nodded very seriously. It can't be said that he knew what it was as soon as he saw it and knew how to use it, right? Someone can help me figure it out. That's great. Seeing Yang Yu's calm and serious look, Xia's Hepeng nodded and praised, you young king who knows how to think, whether he has strange tricks in elf training or in exploring this mysterious unknown power, he is better than us old guys. By the way, Yang Yu, can you show us how to use this Z move? It's just like the move your extra-large Gyarados called Salted Fish King used when he was on the road, the ultimate. Yoon Genfei's voice stopped suddenly. The name of this move is really hard to pronounce. Fortunately, Yoon Genfei gritted his teeth and said slowly, the ultimate dragon shakes the world. At this time, Yang Yu's face was as steady as an old dog's expression, he was already panicking inside. He urgently needs someone to see through his stubborn appearance and his extremely weak body. Brother, I want to see it too. Yang Yu. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 1021. It turns out that performing Z moves with the elves also requires a certain amount of physical strength from the trainer. Little King Yang, it seems you need to exercise hard. Dragon Gym leader Yun Zhenfei learned that Yang Yu could not perform the Z move again in a short period of time due to physical factors. He couldn't help but start shaking his head in regret. His eyes full of care made Yang Yu suddenly get up. Goosebumps. Just like in the polar bear country, the trainers there sometimes seem to be desperate for their lives, and sometimes they fight directly with the elves, but we have to admit that their physical fitness, people who don't know it really think they have something hidden in their bodies. Addressed bear. As Yun Zhenfei spoke, he swung his arms here, and then exerted force with his right arm. The bulging meridians and the bulging muscles all showed that the master of the hall was strong at this time. Yang Yu. The trainers in the real world of elves are indeed much stronger physically than the ordinary people in Yang Yu's memory, but this is before Z moves are used. God knows how much effort Yang Yu put into preparing to perform the Z move this time. Yang Yu believed that if the Yun Gym leader, who was in his 50s and showing off his arm muscles, was allowed to cooperate with the elf to perform a Z move, and if nothing else, just lie in bed for a few days, I'm afraid it would be a dragon gym. They had to be closed for several days. Of course, you can't say this. It's up to you, Yang Yu, to make your own decision. Regarding this Z power and Z moves, no one has more say than you. Xia Zhepeng concluded, this kind of power is indeed what many of our trainers are pursuing. But Xia Zhepeng's tone gradually became serious, and his eyes began to look at Yang Yu seriously. This kind of power will make trainers from other countries and regions look at you with eager eyes. However, Yang Yu, I have always believed in you. The future of the elf world is in the hands of your younger generation. In this small living room, it seemed like a conversation spanning generations was taking place. The elven world of the new generation. The future is promising. I will. In the elf world, after experiencing the center island of the world, the city in the sky, the temple of the sea, and the recent Mount Everest and avalanche, Yang Yu deeply realized. With great power comes great responsibility. When he was just an ordinary junior trainer, perhaps he was not very aware of this concept. In other words, being able to live a good life and have some fun in growing up with elves in life was already a goal. Kind of luxury. Now, it's different. Let's go. Xia Zhepeng stood up, and the other boss-level trainers also stood up. It is true that there are still many questions and confusions in their minds, but now is not the time. After Yang Yu rests for a few days, they will be able to see the true horror of the Z move. Brother Xia, are you ready to leave? Yang Yu asked quickly. Xia Zhepeng smiled and patted Yang Yu on the shoulder. Is it possible that you still want to keep us for dinner? In order to avoid overcrowding in the living room, and the magic wall doll who were staying in Yang Yu's room poked their heads out from behind the door at this time. King Xia Tian, Yang Yu's family has the dumb king in the gourmet world. Yun Zhenfei muttered a few times in a low voice, looking in the direction of the dumb with quick glances. Ahem, cough, cough, then, let's sit down and continue chatting. Xia Zhepeng coughed lightly, feeling the sudden awkwardness in the atmosphere, but nothing about Yang Yu's food dumb king. It has a great reputation in the field of food in China and even in the entire elf world. Nowadays, the silly dessert shops in North America are a trend in the Boston area of North America. Xia Zhepeng sat down again. Yun Zhenfei's face didn't change at all, not even red, and he sat down directly. He even picked up the still warm and steaming tea and tasted it carefully. Then his eyes widened with an expression of profound appreciation. Good tea. Yang Yu. Brother, can this boiled water taste like tea? Even though Kong Chen, Yang Binrui, and Lu Yeking had indescribable embarrassment on their faces, they had seen big winds and waves after all. Isn't this little acting skill just what they say? In an instant, the three people immediately sat down. Come all come. How could you go back without having a meal? This is King Dude's personal chef. Xiao Yu, go to the small supermarket at the door and buy some sets of bowls and chopsticks. Of course Yang Yu welcomed him. It was a great honor to be able to have these big guys at home for a meal. Especially Xia's Hepeng and Yun Zhenfei's care and help to him, Yang Yu was naturally grateful. No need to bother, Yang Yu, have you forgotten that it is best for us trainers to bring a super elf? Xia's Hepeng waved his hands repeatedly. After a while, Xia's Hepeng had a pair of bowls and chopsticks in his hand. Xia's Hepeng didn't need to remind him, Yun Zhenfei and other gym-level trainers also had their own dishes and chopsticks ready. Trainers are so willful. Yang Yu. North America, a satellite monitoring station. Colonel, we saw a strange pattern on the satellite monitoring. A divine dragon appeared over the territory of China. Shenren? Don't make an international joke on me. The only one who can be called a divine dragon is the legendary Rayquaza, the patron saint of the atmosphere who lives in ozone space. Did Rayquaza come to China's airspace? How is it possible? Lord Colonel, look. When a vague but distinct image resembling the outline of a dragon appeared in front of the colonel's eyes. WTF? Divine Dragon. Eastern Divine Dragon. Quick, go to the Special Elf Security Department. The news from us must be uploaded as soon as possible. If it is really the arrival of the mysterious dragon realm, and it has also arrived in China. The colonel's heart felt cold. That's a big deal, but it's not going to be good. North America, Special Elf Security Research Institute. This is a large research base for studying new races of elves. Bathed in blue and lavender lights, you can see the new race of elves from the secret realm of Sky City. If Yang Yu were here, he would definitely be able to call out there are quite a few elven names among them. Frost Milk Fairy, Electric Dog, Poison Electric Baby, Naughty Little Demon. Dr. Mecha, there is an elf number #7×10 cubed here. It seems to be evolving. It has electric and poison attributes. The current container cannot withstand such intensity of power and needs to be replaced with a D-class container. Converting the container, this elf with poisonous and electric attributes, I don't know what kind of elf it will evolve into. Will it be powerful, or just ordinary? When the golden and purple aura of the poisonous electric baby completely bombarded the D-class container, the data on the container continued to change, and finally stayed at a maximum value. Salamander, the evolved form of the poison electric elf, the poison electric salamander? From the appearance, it is an extremely powerful elf. When the power of electricity evolves, it is not inferior to the thunder elf, not bad. It is a huge the harvest. In the new race elf research area, a researcher quickly rushed over. Dr. Mecha. Dr. Mecha, who was witnessing the evolution of the poisonous and electric elves here, nodded and led the researcher to a deeper research room. Travis, tell me, what's the matter? We received news from the satellite monitoring center that a dragon pattern appeared on the satellite clouds in the Chinese region. Since the picture is blurry, it is very likely related to Rayquaza, the legendary spirit dragon that protects the atmosphere. Shenren, Rayquaza. Dr. Mecha's pupils suddenly shrank. This is satellite image data. Our elf researchers will go to China to attend a new elf research summit recently and will check the authenticity of it. I understand, you go down first. Dr. Mecha was the only one left in the huge research room. Shenren, Rayquaza. If it is really it, what kind of power can we have in the elf world to compete with it? Dr. Mecha slowly looked towards a secret door at the back of the research room. Gradually, there is paranoid madness. The ultimate elf studied by the late Professor Planzezen. Perhaps the last critical step in the research on the life crystal of the Sky City should be started. If it is really Rayquaza, I wonder if the elves created by us humans can have the strength to fight with him. Its name, what should it be called? The absolute power of the super energy system, the ultimate system of life. Ultra, Dream. Ultron's dream. The entire elf world will tremble for this. Regarding the emergence of the Chinese dragon, the internet in the elf world was the first to get excited. A group that usually hides among the crowd quietly begins to glow with their own mysterious power. The war ignored the situation and began their performance. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 1022. I know what this is. This is Li Qing's secret dragon realm. The powerful dragon has regrets, the flying dragon is in the sky, this wave is the hidden dragon appearing in the world. This is really not a mirage, this is a secret realm. The secret realm has really come to China's airspace. It's true, and it is a very, very huge secret realm. Only geniuses can see its inside. Just like me, the future king, currently junior trainer. Welcome all international friends to visit Shenlong Xianggrui. In the area where the event occurred, Taoist priests have opened a natural bird super altar. The purpose this time is to find dragon energy and summon the Shenlong. Faced with immeasurable little questions from trainers all over the world, the trainers from China gave extremely serious answers in various confident tones and in the form of exclamation marks. As for the real secret behind this dragon law, that is, the materialization of the dragon power caused by Yang Yu's use of the Z move that transcended the ages, various and varied answers have been quickly distorted in the direction of the crooked building. And go. Of course, for some Western trainers who are extremely yearning for the mysterious Eastern power, they are convinced by such fudge. The country of China itself is a country of trainers favored by dragons. Does the arrival of the dragon in the sky mean that the dragon elves will usher in even more incredible transformation powers? For elf trainers, it has an extremely fatal attraction. Did I hear that right? That old dragon king of the West really believed the nonsense spread on the internet, and is he really ready to come here to pursue the secret realm of the dragon? At the headquarters of the Magic City Elf Alliance, Shi Dingmo looked at some recent work information in his hand and was stunned for a moment. It's not like I don't know the things on the internet, and I guess only a few can be trusted. What's more, in the prosperity discussion with the participation of all parties, there are all versions of the story. Anyway, it's just one sentence, it's all what a fool. But the problem is, at his age, he's probably not often deceived into buying health products and paying IQ tax, right? Shi Dingmo couldn't help but opened his eyes with big eyes and spoke. Mei Jinzi, who was beside her, was moved in her heart, remembering that in the lock safe in Shi Dingmo's office, there seemed to still be some things that seemed to be megastones and keystones that she had wasted a lot of money to get. Ahem, old man Shi, this person is taking a regular route to our country of China, and the trainers accompanying him, except for himself, are all around the elite level. This is a friendly gesture. The Western Dragon King himself is a powerful king-level trainer in the elf world. If the accompanying personnel are too strong, there will inevitably be some threats. Although they cannot make any trouble in the Chinese region, the Western Dragon King himself chose to lead the arrival of some potential elite trainers is a low-profile and friendly signal. However, this old guy is not an old fool. Shi Dingmo sighed. Although he seemed to be laughing at the Western Dragon King's move, he was particularly impressed in his heart. During Shi Dingmo's time, the Dragon King of the West was a powerful trainer who dominated the entire elf world. Although he was old, his power was still there. His veteran Heavenly King level dragon elves are already at the pinnacle of the elven world. Although we have a name for strength beyond the Heavenly King level, whether it is God level or crowned, compared to the Heavenly Kings, it is indeed more powerful. Vague. He will not give up any opportunity to improve the strength of the elves, especially, at this stage where it is already possible to rely on great opportunities to increase the strength of the elves to a higher level. It is better to believe that it is there than to believe that it is not. Majinza said slowly. In their eyes, the dragon's secret realm is nothing more than a masterpiece deceived by the War Bureau. After all, they are two senior members of the Elf Alliance who know some of the inside information. However, some real core information is still available for the time being. Not known. Even so, Shi Dingmo and Majinza saw clearly that the Western Dragon King was heading to China. Regardless of whether the dragon's secret realm was true or false, what if it was true? If it can make the king-level dragon elves understand something, even if there is only a small breakthrough in strength, it will be completely worth it. I have a headache. That little bastard Yang Yu has caused trouble again. Shi Dingmo spread his hands helplessly. Although his mouth seemed to be angry and complaining, there was a smile on his face. This is the elf age for their young people. Hakran, use hail to turn the weather on the site into a snowy day. Mif. In the official large-scale battle venue of the Hangzhou Elf Alliance, a noble and slender blue-white figure bloomed like a white light. In an instant, thin snowflakes began to float in the sky above the venue. The air suddenly became cold. Yang Yu was trembling and was about to ask Dede to help bring out a coat, but he didn't know that Dede had already used his superpower to help Yang Yu resist the cold caused by the ice-type moves. Thanks, Dedu. Yeah. Dada stretched out his hand to make a circle like OK, and Han grinned on the spot. Hey Karan, use the maximum ice power to cast Blizzard. After returning from Mount Everest, to test the elves' strength and moves, Yang Yu wanted to take a closer look at how much improvement Hakran and Little Dream Demon would have. Especially in the cold weather, it is an excellent environment to use ice-based moves, allowing the elves to master the power of ice-based attributes more clearly. Yang Yu held his breath. Hakalong has been training with Yang Yu so far, but he has not yet returned to the East China Sea Dragon Palace to see the king-level father of Kuai Long. This time, Yang Yu will go to the East China Sea Dragon Palace again to fulfill the promise he made. Now that I am ready to take Hakran back to the East China Sea Dragon Palace. Then, of course, Yang Yu would have to evaluate Hakalong's strength to a certain extent. If he was a little weaker by then, he would not be able to stand upright in front of Kuai Long. After all, Kuai Long is Hakran's father. When Yang Yu takes Hakalong back, he has to make Kuai Long's father recognize him as a trainer. There is no greater form of recognition than the strength that Hark Aaron has shown. Mif. Hakran's small black diamond-like eyes suddenly stood up. Under the ice and snow, the whole body was releasing strong freezing gas, just like Hakran emerged from an extremely cold place. At this moment, the real has a cool noble temperament. When the fine snow in the field was gradually blown by the strong wind, it began to sweep into a fierce blizzard flying all over the sky. Yang Yu's eyes were completely white, as if under the wind and snow, there was only a vast expanse of white left. I felt as if I was about to be swallowed by snowflakes. Alu. He blinked blankly. The ice power controlled by Hakran. Inexplicably full of weird atmosphere. In this snowstorm. Why does it seem to have some weird fairy attributes? Hakran, increase your intensity and I'll treat you to a big piece of ice cream. Yang Yu's motivational method is still so, teaching students in accordance with their aptitude. After hearing Yang Yu's encouragement, Hakran, who was in the center of the blizzard, couldn't help but drop a few drops of halazi from the corner of his mouth, and even condensed into a cone-shaped ice edge in the cold environment of the blizzard. Mif. Big chunks of ice cream, one piece is not enough, I need two. The violent wind of the blizzard instantly entered the explosive aura, exploding from the center of the venue to the surroundings. Click, click, click. Zhyla. The expression on Yang Yu's face suddenly condensed. I wipe, what's the sound? Mama, look at the big house there, there's smoke coming from the head. In the sky above the official battlefield of the Hangzhou Elf Alliance, several pieces of glass shattered due to the force of extreme cold contraction. A large amount of cold air began to rise from the roof. Probably, this is the power of central air conditioning, right? King Yang Yushan, please, be merciful. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huo Qiangxiao. Chapter 1023. Our battle arena will be upgraded in the future. After Yang Yu left, the staff here discovered the bizarre disappearance of the skylight glass. No need to think too much, it must have been a small accident while training moves. The Hark Aeron trained by King Yang Yushan has not yet reached the gym level in strength. Why can it cause such a certain degree of damage to our training ground here? Because he is Yang Yu, it's enough to understand this. The 22-year-old king is unreasonable at this age, we should be lucky. We are not fighting elves here, but just training moves. It's not like you don't know how many gyms King Yang Yushan has demolished. Yes, it is a great honor for us to be able to watch this training ground survive. That's right. The weather here in Hangzhou is gradually beginning to enter winter. Apart from the training venues of the Elf Alliance, there is no place where Yang Yu can test his mastery of elf moves. If a large-scale blizzard move is used for no reason in the natural environment, then the outside weather, like the butterfly effect, will be affected by unknown cold winds, and the weather may also change drastically. In comparison, it's better to destroy the training venue. Wrong. How can this be called a disaster? At this time, Yang Yu dialed the number of Dragon Messenger Xiaozhepeng. Xiao Tianwang, what are your plans for today? In fact, if you want to train elf moves, you can go to my base on the outskirts of Hangzhou. It is not used much now. It is empty, which is a waste of resources. Xiaozhepeng said with a smile. Ha ha ha, will it be too much trouble? Mainly, I'm afraid of affecting the natural environment. Sometimes the moves can't be used and abused at will, Yang Yu answered. Oh, Xiaozhepeng's brows moved, and he was a little curious, are you enlarging your moves again? No, it's just a move for blizzards, snow, and hail. Isn't it just the beginning of winter? If used directly in nature, the impact will be quite big. Xiaozhepeng nodded and agreed very much with Yang Yu's approach, but then said, I didn't expect to receive a call from you today. Is it to prepare, in the words of you young people, is it time to show your real skills? Yang Yu could feel the suppressed excitement in King Xia Tian's tone through the microphone, and he understood the emotion very well in his heart, because Yang Yu himself discovered and recognized the Z bracelet material luster stone and Z pure crystal in the deep sea secret realm. When the heartbeat suddenly accelerated for a while. I'm going to the Dragon Palace Elf secret realm in the East China Sea. Above the clouds in the East China Sea, I can show off my Z moves. If Brother Xia is interested, can we go to the East China Sea together? Yang Yu thought for a moment and invited with a smile. Of course you're interested, that's a must. Xiaozhepeng had not been so happy for a long time, and his slightly white temples started to flutter excitedly in the wind. This is a grand event. It's good to be in the East China Sea. It's good to be in the East China Sea. Brother Xia, I'll talk to Master Yun later. I don't know the rest of the staff very well. If Brother Xia knows which trainers in the Elf Alliance want to know about Z moves, I'll have to trouble you to contact them. Got it? Even if trainers from all over the country want to come and see. Xiaozhepeng blurted out without thinking. This matter. Although Xiaozhepeng really wants the whole world to know that in the field of trainers and elves in China, a new era of powerful power represented by Z power has emerged, But it's too early, too early. It is a great blessing for China to have a young trainer like Yang Yu appear. No, 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 didn't I just make big news not long ago? I want to keep a low profile. Yang Yu opened his mouth and begged for mercy repeatedly. Xiao Hepeng's eyes widened in surprise. It started, this guy is starting to stop talking. When I rushed back to Hangzhou from Mount Everest, such a big thing happened. In the past, the big news that Yang Yu made caused a lot of heated discussion in the country. But now, it is all over the world. Are you talking about this dragon secret realm? What's more, the detailed introduction has even been explained by some talents, including the sea, land, and air war in ancient times, and the secrets about Rayquaza. Due to the lack of power, the dragon hidden in the atmosphere, after thousands of years of power accumulation, is about to appear in this world. Xiao Hepeng almost believed these messy versions. I have to say that when I open the web page every day, the word Shenlong comes to my face. That's not right. When was this guy Yang Yu talking about? From the tone of his voice, it seems that he wasn't responsible for the incident in the dragon secret realm this time. Brother Xia, I have nothing else to do, so what if I die? See you in the East China Sea then. Xiao Hepeng. They escaped very quickly. However, we still need to talk to the elders about the Z-Move display. Rushing from Yanjing to the East China Sea, hey, we can't stop them. Xiao Hepeng, who returned to his normal thoughts, couldn't help but smile and shook his head. Forget it, you can come if you want, just make arrangements. In your lifetime, you can see the rise of a generation of young trainers from China and make waves at the top of the world. Amazing. Xiao Yu, let's go to the Magic City to pick up Gardevoir and the Magic Wall doll. Today's superpower training is almost over. Then early tomorrow morning, we will set off to the East China Sea to catch the sun on the sea before sunrise. It's a good time to learn about superpowers while you're out. Due to his deep understanding of nature, he became the king of heaven and was able to share many experiences, some of which even the super gym and super tower in the Magic City could not provide. Gardevoir's recent learning status, especially the unimaginable aura unleashed by his excellent talent and strong obsession, has led to a very clear improvement in Gardevoir's strength. This feels very incredible to Lanziken, the Super Gym leader and deputy tower master of the Super Tower. It's really unbelievable. Is this the same Larulas I saw before? Master Lan, we have been hearing this for several days. Look, the necklace you gave her last time is still hanging around her neck. Of course, the super crystal has turned into an ordinary crystal, but Gardevoir will never forget your help to us. Still unbelievable. The changes of elves are sometimes so fast, and may even be faster than the changes of humans. After bidding farewell to Master Lan, Yang Yu summoned Hakran. Are you ready? We have to go back, to meet your father, the king-level dragon of the East China Sea Dragon Palace. Myth. This will be the glory that belongs to Hakran. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 1024. Snap, snap, snap. At sunrise, facing the East China Sea, the little dream demon patted Hakran on the head. At this time, the sun slowly rises from the sea level, and the fiery red color of the sky makes the sparkling waves and the blue sea glow with a drunken wine-red light. Returning here again, knowing the rest of today's itinerary. Hakran stood a little dull on the shore, not knowing whether he was watching the sun rise or the direction of home. The little dream demon has something to say first. When Hakran returns home this time, he must entertain the little dream monsters and the others. Forget about other food, but there must be something shiny. After all, the secret realm of the East China Sea Dragon Palace left a very deep impression on the little dream demon. The entire palace is a crystal palace, and the things inside are all precious resources that are rare in the outside world. Apparently, Hakron was nodding his head while looking deeply at the end of the sea level with eyes that were as undulating as the waves. Haven't been home for a long time. I don't know what happened to her two brothers. Although Yang Yu's Hakron was the last to break out of the egg when hatched from the elf egg, Hakron knew that as she trained, took risks, and grew up with trainer Yang Yu, her growth would among all the dragon elves, he is definitely the very fast one. Mif. Hakron gradually closed his slightly blurred eyes, and together with the waves of the sea, they shone with sparkling light. It had been a long time since he had gone home. At this time, Hakron was like a wanderer. When he returned to his hometown, his heart surged like waves. Yang Yu could clearly feel Hakron's nervous mood. Although she stood upright beside her with her head held high and her figure slender, there was a rapid sound in her breathing, as if she was blowing up snot bubbles. Hakron, we're going to be home soon. Mif. Oh. No matter how Hakron grows, facing the familiar waters of his hometown, he is still the confused mini-dragon he once was, and his purity of heart has not changed at all. Whoosh. When there is a line of sky on the sea level, the sun and clouds intersect in the sky, and a figure as fast as lightning drives the vast waves, leaping from the sea in an instant and soaring into the sky. Waves hit all four sides, and splashes of water flew in the air. Who dash? A voice with thousands of emotions like the vicissitudes of the sea, accompanied by that silhouette, released a rumbling echo between the vast world. The owner of the secret realm of the East China Sea Dragon Palace, the father of Hakron, on the other side. The king-level dragon. The fiery red clouds under the sunrise illuminate Kuei-Long's figure in a glorious mood. The dragon is calling. His daughter. Mif. Hakron's delicate and noble neck suddenly trembled. His eyes gradually began to bring tears of extreme joy. Go quickly, Hakron. Yang Yu smiled softly, stretched out his hand and patted Hakron's smooth neck. This is a wonderful time for the father and daughter, Hakron and Kuei-Long. Mif. Hakalong leaned his head affectionately and nuzzled Yang Yu's ear. Yang Yu could clearly feel the moist tears indirectly falling on his cheeks. Yeah. Poppy. See. Yang Yu felt his trouser legs suddenly move. Jigglypuff was the elf who hated to see such a scene the most. At this moment, it stretched out its arms and hugged Yang Yu's legs, covering its eyes, but it couldn't help but secretly turn to one side. I still want to see the scene in front of me. Wow, brother, it's so touching. Although Yang Xiao didn't know what Kuei-Long's cry actually said, the sound that echoed between heaven and earth could resonate with the soul, hitting the deepest part of Yang Xiao's soul. Hakron curled up its tail, twisted it, gathered enough strength, and charged towards the clear figure in the sky. Jumping. Maybe this is jumping in the sky. Hakron was scurrying up and down and beating rapidly. Under the light of tomorrow, Hakron's figure instantly wrapped around Kuei-Long's left wing. At the same time, Kuei-Long's father also used his powerful the huge hands firmly supported Hakron's body. At this moment, time seems like eternity. Grrrrrrrr. Looking at such a scene, Dada couldn't help but rub his chubby hands, and at the same time, he didn't know when he hugged Xiangxian's tail. When we meet again after a long separation, hugging is the most pleasant way to meet. Mif. Hakron has a lot to say to Kuei-Long's father, whether it's his own growth, what he has seen and heard, or how he used the heart scale to see his mother's beauty with the help of nightmare god Clay. The topic of NAS and so on. Kuei-Long really wanted to listen to his daughter's story calmly and peacefully like an old father, but Hakalong's experience shocked Kuei-Long beyond words. Rock god Pillar Rejarok. Nightmare god Darkrai. The spiritual link of the scales of the heart, and the secret hidden in the deep sea of the Pacific. Kuai-Long's trademark fat paws rested on Hakran's head very peacefully and calmly, and patted it gently. The old tears in the corners of my eyes are still infinitely moved by this elven world. That little confused mini dragon that used to cling to his shoulder and his left wing and prevent him from flying properly. Grown up. Kuai-Long's eyes gradually fell on Yang Yu and his elf on the coast, and he suppressed his tears of excitement at the reunion. He still would not forget that he was the king-level elf Kuai-Long, the master of the secret realm of the East China Sea Dragon Palace. Likewise, I will never forget. An agreement once made. Who? When Kuai-Long and Hakran slowly descended from the air to the beach in front of Yang Yu, Kuai-Long's eyes full of appreciation and scrutiny seemed to be fixed on Yang Yu, a human being. On the trainer's body. At this time, Yang Yu felt awe-inspiring, but then he felt relieved. If he were still the same person as before when he first entered the secret realm of the East China Sea Dragon Palace to search for elf resources, perhaps his nervousness would still continue to this day, and he would still be a little embarrassed in front of the king-level fast dragon. Now, Yang Yu's breath of relief at this moment brought Kuai-Long a calm and gradually mature expression. If the trainer has no confidence at all, how can he make Kuai-Long trust his strength? The moment he saw Kuai-Long, Yang Xiao was even more excited. Phew, I finally saw the Dragon King of the secret realm of the East China Sea Dragon Palace. For her, this is a scene where some popular science introductions in textbooks are actually presented before her eyes. How can she not be excited about this? Kai-Long, we meet again. While Yang Yu was sighing with emotion, there was determination in his tone. Feeling Yang Yu's firm gaze and resolute tone, the pupils of Kuai-Long's deep eyes shrank suddenly, and a long breath rippled around from his breath like a dragon's breath. Who dash? Kuai-Long's sharp gaze fell on the Salted Fish King and the Dude King. At the same time, Kuai-Long's claws that gradually clenched began to tremble continuously. I'm ready, to fulfill our agreement. Who? Kuai-Long's eyes suddenly bloomed, and the wings on his back vibrated the waves of the East China Sea. A sweeping white ripple spread across the sea, instantly widening the distance between Kuai-Long and Yang Yu. A battle between elves? Yang Yu took a deep breath. There is indeed no better way to gain Kuai-Long's recognition of his strength than playing against elves. However, it seems that the audience hasn't arrived yet. It's so early, and the dragon messengers don't know if they've gotten up yet. Yang Yu coughed lightly. But in this situation, time is no longer under his control. In this case, Salted Fish King. Roar. The eyes of the Salted Fish King ignited with a fiery fighting spirit. Thunder turned over and stepped out of the waves. The battle is about to break out. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huo Chiang Shao. Chapter 1025. Yang Yu, did you call us to wake us up before 5 o'clock? Didn't he go watch the sunrise over the East China Sea? It's so early, I'm already past the age of watching the sunrise. Can I have a good sleep at this age? A confused voice sounded in the corridor of the East China Sea Elf Alliance Business Hotel, and there was even some sadness. King Yang Yushan said that he was going to fight against the elves with Kuai-Long, the king of Dragon Palace. Before the additional words were finished, these older generation trainers, who seemed to be old to young trainers, suddenly became energetic. Then what are you waiting for here? Why don't you go quickly? Dragon Messenger Xiaz Hepeng and Dragon Gym leader Yun Zhenfei came to the East China Sea just to see the Z move mastered by Yang Yu. Yang Yu will definitely use this kind of Z power in the battle with the king-level dragon, otherwise. You won't call the person to wake them up while they are still confused. Even if you have dark circles under your eyes. Then you have to go. Teleport. The collective disappearance of many trainers in the Elf Alliance Donghai Business Hotel may not be allowed for ordinary people, but how come these people are all important figures in the Elf Alliance? Presumably, it's excusable. The Salted Fish King faced off in the air. Under the sunrise, the golden and red sunlight shone on his body, making the dragon scale armor with tight scales shine with a coquettish rainbow light. Suspended on the sea, the distance between Kuai Long and Xianyu King was not too far, but under the waves that seemed to be hitting them as usual in front of them, there must be surging waves secretly. The gentle sea breeze stirred up the beard of the salted fish king, and also stirred up the 2-point-like tentacles on the head of the Kuai Long. It also has the power of flying attributes, for wind. No one will give up the wind of nature to each other. Create your own venue, even if it is above the East China Sea and is the home court of Kuai Long, there is almost no difference to the salted fish king. The sea is also the home ground of salted fish king. After being promoted to the king level strength at the bottom of the sea, coupled with the battle with the bully megalodon in the deep sea, the environment of the battle in the sea is quite conducive for the salted fish king to take action. Hakran has already arrived far away, but her position is interesting. It's right between Kuai Long and Xianyu King, away from the middle of the main battlefield. On one side is Kuai Long's father, and on the other side is his elf partner, standing in the middle, neither helping nor taking sides. This is a man's promise. It is an inevitable elf battle that has been agreed between Kuai Long and Yang Yu. In fact, this elf battle does not need to be carried out. Yang Yu's strength, for Kuai Long, he is not just a king-level elf who locks himself in the East China Sea Crystal Palace and knows nothing about foreign affairs. He can see the salted fish king, seeing King Slow. There are also Minas, whose strength is almost one step away from the King of Heaven, and trainer Yang Yu's second Gyarados, Little Bayo Bayo. He is already qualified. Only, if this agreement is reached so neatly, it seems that something is still missing. Reaching a consensus is more in line with Kuai Long's appetite. Whoosh! On the rather calm ocean, Kuai Long's steady body suddenly flapped the wings on his back. Compared with Kuai Long's fat body, his wings were somewhat petite, but they were able to control incredible flying power. Behind Kuai Long, a tornado-shaped hurricane wave formed in an instant. The terrifying speed of the fast dragon. Yang Yu's eyelids twitched and he took a deep breath. Yang Xiao took a deep breath, which was very similar to Yang Yu's movements. This is the knowledge that is in the textbooks, and is engraved in the minds of Yang Yu and Yang Xiao. Kuai Long surrounds this elven world and can circle the earth in less than 16 hours. The speed of this sudden advance caused the sound of air waves breaking through the air, and it instantly sounded like an explosion in the space. Has this already begun? It seems we came at just the right time. Caught up. Brother Xia, Master Yun, and everyone else, you are finally here. Yang Yu glanced slightly sideways, his eyes brightening. At this moment, Dragon Messenger Xia's Hepeng and his party finally arrived at the shallow beach. Their eyes fell on the fierce confrontation between the king-level elves on the East China Sea, and they held their breath for a moment. For gym-level trainers who are not kings, this is an excellent opportunity to feel the power of kings. Likewise, they can also clearly understand how they should continue to move forward as trainers in the future. They have already begun to wait in their hearts. Waiting for Yang Yu's ultimate move. Let's take a look at this duel of flying power first. Yang Yu also didn't expect that this battle was not so much a battle between elves, but Kuai Long was more like giving instructions to the salted fish king. As a senior, he provides guidance to the newly promoted junior king-level elves. The most basic attributes of Gyarados are water and flight. Regarding the control of water power, Kuai Long has nothing to teach. After all, Gyarados was a spirit that could not live without water in its original Magikarp form. At this moment, even though the salted fish king has his own experience in using powerful tornadoes, the power of the dragon type is forming a powerful tornado, and when facing dragons and fast dragons with flying attributes, they also have the advantage of move attributes, but the wind controlled by Kuai Long's flying attribute is thicker, even terrifyingly thick. Roar! Salted Fish King's eyes suddenly opened. Everything that happened in front of him had actually been seen by him himself. However, the fact that this move was completely blocked was caused by him. He, the Salted Fish King, used the power of wind to completely block the strong wind power controlled by the other flying elves. The flying elf who lost to the Salted Fish King was defeated because the power of the wind could not break the tornado of the Salted Fish King, causing the power to dissipate. It was stronger than Wu Yuqin's Bai Diao, and in the sky. There was a gym-level warrior named Eagle who had fought against him once in the secret realm of the city. When the waves were like a substantial waterspout, and the wall of wind greeted the dragon's fluttering wings, the Salted Fish King felt powerless. Such a move cannot break the flying attribute of the king-level Kuai Long. Regarding the protection of the power of wind, this extremely solid wind wall stands between Kuai Long and the Salted Fish King. Even though they are very close, it is insurmountable barriers. Roar. The Salted Fish King looked deeply at the shadow of Kuai Long behind the wind wall. Regarding the power of the flying attributes, the Salted Fish King has already been taught. This is his shortcoming and Kuai Long's guidance. However, the Salted Fish King's vision is still bright. Now, it's his turn to show that. The ultimate dragon power. The dragon power in the past may have created a ravine in the elven world that was extremely difficult to break through, and the top of the power was blocked by layers. Traveling to the underworld, parting the clouds and mist, seeing the light. Yang Yu felt the Salty Fish King's thoughts at this moment, and his Z bracelet appeared in his hand. At this moment, Dragon Messenger Xiaz Hepeng and Master Yun looked at Yang Yu's steps forward and the light on his arm, and they held their breath deeply for an instant. Senior Kuai Long, this is the epoch-making power we discovered. Go, Salted Fish King. Z move. The ultimate dragon shakes the world. Dragon, come to the world. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 1026. When everyone present gathered their minds almost at the same time, held their breath, opened their eyes with maximum strength, wanting to witness the reappearance of the miracle in the wonderful sunrise environment at this moment. I'm afraid the air will suddenly become quiet. A thought was like the smell of garlic that instantly hit my nose. For a moment, Dragon Messenger Xiaz Hepeng felt that his mind was dazed, and his ears were buzzing, and he even began to doubt. Are you dreaming? What is this person doing? The young king. Why do you feel like you're not very smart? I only saw Yang Yu clenching his fist on his chest at this time, making the Z bracelet on his arm shine brightly with a strange light. Although it is somewhat similar to the mega evolution between the elf megastone and the elf, but at this time the light formed on the Z bracelet instantly builds a bridge of power to communicate with Gyarados in the elf battle. Isn't this an extremely solemn ceremony? Yun Zhenfei even had a straight face to show his extraordinary attention and seriousness, but the corners of his mouth began to twitch from time to time. He had already begun to silently recite some strange words in his mind. I can't hold it in any longer. Yang Yu. What are you doing? Stop it. This is not a place for you to dance in the square. At this time, Yang Yu didn't know that these big-name trainers behind him were constantly performing eye backstabs with their ridiculously big eyes. The performance of the Z move required all the heart, strength, and strength of the whole body. Concentrate on it, pouring the power of activating the Dragon-type Z crystal into the Salted Fish King at this time. Full strength posture. Of course, it must also be paired with powerful lines. My heart is as strong as iron, indestructible. If you put aside the scene of the elves and just look at Yang Yu at this time, he looks like an immortal holding a spiritual weapon in the fairy tale. However, this immortal is facing the sea and constantly stretching out his hands to draw circles and perform incredible things. G11's dance. However, in the extremely embarrassing atmosphere on the beach, the scene above the sea is extremely frightening. Who dash? In the eyes of Kuai Long, who was flapping his wings to form a terrifying wind, At the moment when Yang Yuliang took out his Z bracelet and united with the Salted Fish King, under the heaven and earth, the power of the dragon was majestic, and this violent beast with water and flying attributes on the body of the carp dragon. It actually began to gather incredible dragon power. It can even be called divine power. Roar. With a roar full of power, the Salted Fish King, whose strength and power was rising steadily at this time, released a terrifying aura that made the entire sea area seem to tremble. The materialization of power, just after the body of the Salted Fish King, appeared again. Shadow of the Dragon. At this moment, who dares to say that Gyarados is not a dragon? If it weren't for a dragon, how can he exert dragon-type divine power that can even surpass the king-level dragon-type elves? Are the golden scales just a thing in the pond? They turn into dragons when they hit the wind and clouds. The sky, at this moment, changes color. This is Z power. Xiazhepeng, a king-level trainer who is nearly 60 years old, has experienced too much in the elf world, but when he really saw the power of Z, he once again lost his voice uncontrollably, and even looked a little gloomy. He once suspected, is this still a power that elves can master? Perhaps the scene was what the trainer who accidentally discovered the super evolution of elves hundreds of years ago thought the same way. If I could get such power, let alone dance, even if I were asked to run naked, I would be willing to do it. Yun Zhenfei couldn't help but start to murmur. Xiazhepeng's mouth twitched inexplicably after hearing what Master Yun said. Who are these people? He is already very old, and the dignified Dragon Gym leader would still say such a thing? Come on, me too. I just want to show you some movements from the underworld. Where did Yang Yu's messy movements and these incomparable lines come from? Old people like them. Don't you want to save face? The ultimate dragon shakes the world. The roar of a move from Yang Yu instantly made the group of people, who were already dull-eyed, deeply shocked, and their faces began to turn a little red. Not to mention Yang Xiao, even Xiazhepeng blushed. In such an environment, this inexplicable sense of substitution seems to be seen in Yang Yu, just like himself. Good, so shameful. Yang Xiao thought that when he first heard the move Ultimate Dragon shakes the world at home, he actually didn't think much about it. He simply thought that the name of this move was very long, longer than the names of other moves. There are actually 7 words. But then I thought about it, and it seems that the Z Crystal Z Bracelet and Z moves are new things discovered and named by my brother Yang Yu. Such elf props and elf moves have never appeared in the elf world before. It seems that 7 words are not impossible. As the person who discovered and even named the Z move, the naming of the move itself was decided by brother Yang Yu. But Yang Xiao never expected that when he actually used the Z move, it would actually be so embarrassing. Shame. Actually, it's not bad. That is. Yang Xiao couldn't explain clearly for a while, but one thing is for sure, no one else can be envious even if they want to. By doing this, brother Yang Yu can unite with the elf to exert Z power. What about others? Yeah. From this angle, he looked at the Dharma-like dragon shadow behind Xian Xian, his mouth wide open in a daze, his tail wagging, and his eyes began to look expectant. When I was on the road, I didn't observe carefully, but now. When Dede thought that if he could master Z moves with Yang Yu like Xian Xian, would Dede also have a Dede appear behind him? The huge golden conch cap, and the stupid stare. Just thinking about it makes Dai a little excited. If you want to know the true power of the Z move, you can only experience it from the front, and you can feel it most clearly. At this moment, Kuai Long saw the physical appearance of the divine dragon behind King Xianyu, and the might of the dragon that filled the sky even made him a little suspicious. Who is the real dragon elf? Roar. Masters compete with each other, until the point is reached. After all, Kuai Long is Hakalong's father. At the same time, King Xianyu also knows that the power he shows is not to defeat Kuai Long, but to make Kuai Long trust his trainer and believe that Yang Yu already has the ability to compete with Kuai Long. Let's go to that world together to find the power of Minas. However, the Salted Fish King naturally has his own pride in his body. The power of flying. This is Kuai Long's teaching. The Salted Fish King doesn't know much about dragon-type moves, but he can use super moves. You have already used the Z moves, how can you not feel great? That blue figure soared into the sky, bringing with it the shadow of a divine dragon, stirring up the storm over the East China Sea. Kuai Long raised his head and looked deeply at the Salted Fish King swimming in the sky. He was already shocked beyond measure. If there was such power in the most critical moment ever. Maybe if he is fast, he will not lose his true love. But there is hope after all. East China Sea, it's raining. Gentle breeze and drizzle. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huo Xiangxiao. Chapter 1028. It's rare to see such a rain in this magical city. The wind is not too strong, the lightning is not raging, and you can see that the pedestrians are not walking in a hurry. The sea breeze from the East China Sea has brought a thin drizzle to several cities along the coast. In this drizzle, what people have never seen is a glimmer of hope behind it. Z-move, Z-move, when I hear this name, I have an unknown feeling. Now it seems. 2 words, awesome. Yun Zhenfei has transformed into Yang Chui. This person whose face was even purpler than an eggplant when he saw Yang Yu dancing before, at this moment, his brows are beaming, as if he has returned to his youth. It's still a question. This should be a rare elf resource like the elf megastone. I don't know how to find it. Even if most people find this thing, they will think it is just an ordinary ore. Dragon Messenger Xiazhepeng frowned. Thinking. Several trainers who followed him nodded frequently. Z pure crystals, including the predecessor of the Z bracelet, Brilliant Stone, if these 2 things are hidden in the mineral layer, it is really difficult to find them relying on existing identification technology. After all, this is something new, and it takes time to find it. Also, the power of this move. I can't imagine that if such a Z move was used indoors, for example, my gym, it would directly tear down the venue. Yun Zhenfei still has lingering fears, but the only thing he responded to was a pair of extremely serious and determined eyes. If the venue is right, and the opponent's elf dodges such a move, it may not even be able to dodge. In short, your gym is a bit unstable. Yun Zhenfei spread his hands and said, then here's the question, why can't I think of fighting an elf battle with a pervert like Yang Yu in the gym? He's already the king of heaven. A wise choice. Xiazhepeng smiled. Only Yun Zhenfei himself can know how much helplessness there is in the joking. However, he has been able to foresee the future elf world. With a trainer like Yang Yu in China, he can already feel at ease. It would be good to find a successor and retire at that time. As for whether the gym will be demolished, let the new gym leader have the headache. Yang Yu, are there any mineral residues left behind when making the Z bracelet? I want to take it back to the Elf Alliance and let them analyze the mineral composition and find these 2 precious elf resources. I may still need to ask, please help me more, Xiazhepeng asked. Yang Yu has a saying that I don't know whether to say or not. To be honest, those mineral residues have long been eaten up by Reggie Locke's wisdom core, and not even the dregs are left. After all, for the rock-type Regirock, this is a new variety of delicacy. More importantly, it was polished by Regirock himself. When the luster stone is polished into a Z bracelet, the remaining residue is just like coffee beans. It feels like grinding it into powder. This is what Reggie Locke said himself. But how could Yang Yu tell this? The next words made Xiaozhepeng, Yun Zhenfei, and the others feel even more shocked. Brilliant stone, I still have a piece here, but it hasn't been polished into a Z bracelet yet. Maybe I can polish it into the shape I want later, dumbfounded. Yeah. Dede stretched out his hands and took off his golden conch cap. He put his right hand in and gently stirred it to look for Doraemon's treasure conch cap. Soon, a piece of gold appeared in Dede's hand. It looks like an ordinary piece of stone. There's a radiant stone here. For the first time in so many years, Xiaozhepeng felt as if his heartbeat had skipped a beat. This surprise is really quite big. He never expected. Yang Yu actually still has an unpolished radiant stone here. Xiaozhepeng began to hesitate. This is like a key to a new elven power, a key to a new era. Even if it is not polished, its dazzling brilliance cannot be concealed. This is too expensive. If you want to look for radiant stone or Z pure crystal, I personally suggest, it's best to search in the ocean. There are indeed many secrets in the depths of the ocean that we have not yet been able to explore, Yang Yuyan said concisely and comprehensively. Yang Yu's words suddenly awakened Xiaozhepeng and Yun Zhenfei. This is the elven resource that Yang Yu found from Manafei's Sea Temple, and may have an important connection with Manafei. It turns out that our Chinese camp is the biggest winner. Xiaozhepeng was filled with emotions. I thought that the promotion of Yang Yu's Gyarados to Heavenly King was the best news at the time, but Xiaozhepeng still didn't expect. Yang Yu can still have such incredible gains. This is simply. For a moment, Xiaozhepeng didn't know what to say. He is simply not human. This level of making a fortune in silence is astonishing, right? As for Z pure crystal, I also have a dragon type Z pure crystal here. What? Besides. Etc., etc. At this moment, Xiaozhepeng's hand that almost connected to the radiance stone trembled. It was as if it was a shocking news, like a bolt from the blue. At this moment, like a happy fireworks, it exploded in his heart. No way, no way. Yang Yu, the surprise you gave us, is already a shock, isn't it? Oh my god. Elf resources such as Brilliant Stone and Z Pure Crystal have become strategically important resources in the Elf Alliance's registration, almost as important as Elf Megastones. No matter what, being able to take the lead in the elf world. It's definitely more than one step. One step first, every step first. This gift is too big. For a moment, Dragon Messenger Xiaozhepeng's hands began to tremble, and he felt like he had nowhere to put them. After trembling for a long time, his face turned red and he placed his hand heavily on Yang Yu's shoulder. Okay. The second Dragon Z Pure Crystal that has not yet opened its eyes is waiting for the call of the trainer in this world, waiting for the power contract of the elf. Perhaps, at this moment, there is already an answer. In China, no one is more suitable than the Dragon Messenger to be the king-level trainer who takes over the second Dragon Z Pure Crystal and Z Bracelet. At this time, the sun in the East China Sea has already risen. The early morning sun shone on everyone on the beach at this time, as if they were covered with brilliant windbreakers. This is an extremely precious gift from Yang Yu. Western Tibet, Potala Palace. In the natural bird altar, a kind old man is meditating. The power that breaks through the darkness, the light of dawn, shines ahead. The reversed world is not far away from us. A wisp of cold wind from nowhere blew past the old man's sleeves. Ahem, cough, cough, it's going to be winter. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 1029. China recently welcomed a heavyweight guest from the West. Caesar, the Dragon King of the West. After Xiaozhepeng, the envoy of Huaqilang, secretly handed over the Radiance Stone and Z Pure Crystal given by Yang Yu to the research department of the Elf Alliance headquarters, He quickly went to the airport to receive this former old rival. Their era is about to pass, but there are many classic elven battles left in the entire elven world. Xia, oh, long time no see, my old buddy. At this time, Caesar was wrapped in a thick cotton coat and looked like a very kind old man, but everyone who knew him knew how terrifying he would be when he was angry. Caesar's trip came after he learned about China's dragon secret realm through his granddaughter Bella through the internet, and then he became interested in going to China. At this time, Caesar was greeted by Yun Zhenfei, the leader of the Dragon Gym. Yun Zhenfei's face was filled with a bright smile. The way he looked at Caesar between his brows was as if he was looking at a victim of the war, or even a bit like looking at the old man who was deceived into buying healthcare products. However, Caesar couldn't analyze such an expression. What he could see was the warm hospitality of the owner Yun Zhenfei. "Hello, Master Yun." "King Caesar, this should be the famous trainer Bella in the Temple of the Sea, right?" Yun Zhenfei asked with a smile, his eyes falling on the young female trainer a few steps behind Caesar. Caesar's expression lifted visibly, and his voice was solemn, without concealing his affection. "Bella, come, let everyone see you." "Dragon Messenger, Master Yun." Bella leaned forward gracefully, "Thank you." Bella didn't have any cover, her eyes were constantly looking behind the Dragon Messenger Xiaozhepeng, as if she was looking for someone. Caesar naturally knew what his granddaughter was looking for, so he slowly said, "Xia, speaking of the famous one, why didn't the young trainer Yang Yu come over? I still really want to get to know this young king of China." "Trainer?" Xiaozhepeng and Yun Zhenfei looked at each other silently. This old guy. His eyes were still so vicious. Rather than coming to China for friendly exchanges, in fact, he probably just came to see Yang Yu. He even brought young Bella along with him. At least in the eyes of Xiaozhepeng and Yun Zhenfei, it is undeniable that Bella has very good qualifications and strength as a trainer, and more importantly, is very in line with the aesthetics of Eastern people. In the West, Bella is the spokesperson for jewelry. From childhood to adulthood, her personal temperament has had a unique charm, and more importantly, her identity. In the West, it is no exaggeration to say that suitors flock to him. But it would be interesting if it was really what they thought. If Xiaozhepeng and Yun Zhenfei don't know what kind of person Yang Yu is, then doesn't Xiaozhepeng's daughter Xia Yu also know? Anyway, at home, Xiaozhepeng often heard Xia Yu complain. "It turned out that I was looking for King Yang Yushan." The light in the corner of Xiaozhepeng's eyes flashed slightly, but the smile on his face remained peaceful. "What is Yang Yu doing at this time?" Little dream demon, you are almost falling into the golden bead, take less, your hands can hardly hold it." Yang Yu's brain hurts a little now. In the Crystal Palace, everything is shining, and the happiest thing is the little dream monster. Whether it is shells, pearls, golden beads, or agates, diamonds and other things, for Kuai-Long, there are many things in the Dragon Palace. In addition, Kuai-Long heard that the little dream demon gave Hakalong a gift when he was growing up. All kinds of help. It even made Yang Yu feel as if Kuai-Long wished the little dream demon could stuff more things into it and leave. The little dream demon couldn't be too happy. He brought so many treasures back and exchanged them all for deduction coins. He didn't know that he could become a handsome boy with a super membership for tens of thousands of years. In short, at a speed visible to the naked eye, the treasures on a table in the Dragon Palace are rapidly disappearing. Seeing the little dream demon put these treasures into her own space one by one, it was like bringing a sack to Rob. The action alone made Yang Yu feel inexplicable pain. As the little dream demon's strength increases, the ghost storage space she can control will naturally increase. What the little dream demon is struggling with right now is this huge golden bead, which is even bigger than the little dream demon. It seems that it can't fit into her ghost storage space. "Hold it, you can only hold it." The little elf wanted to pick up something bigger than itself, and even stick to it, refusing to move, which made the trainer Yang Yu feel a little confused. Who did you learn this character from? It can't be me, right? No way, no way. When Yang Yu was thinking about what went wrong, suddenly, not far away, Dede quickly stretched out his hand, and purple superpower was released in this small space. Yeah. The dull and gentle power enveloped the little dream demon in an instant. The aura of the little dream demon seemed to have undergone a slight qualitative change. What's wrong? Wait, this is... Yang Yu opened his mouth wide in an instant, forming a huge O shape, as if he could stuff this golden bead, which was bigger than the little dream monster, into his mouth. The little dream demon at this time. Stuff it, just stuff it. There are several main halls in the East China Sea Dragon Palace. In the main halls, there are hundreds or thousands of tables that look like polished rocks. There are so many treasures on the table, how can the little dream monster endure this? The little dream demon felt arrogant and unleashed all his strength to stuff the last treasure on the table into his ghost storage space. However, we must not only ensure the stability of the space, but also ensure that the storage space can hold these big golden beads. If one thing is not done well, causing the collapse of the dimension, that is, the chaos of the ghost storage space, what is hidden in the ghost storage space? The treasures inside are all finished. With the magic fairy rod in hand, the power of the dark stone is continuously providing the little dream demon with solid and reliable energy to maintain the stability of the ghost space. The little dream demon gritted his teeth. After exhausting all his strength, he finally seemed to squeeze this golden bead into the storage space. Click. The crisp sound is like the sound of a closed cocoon breaking open when it transforms into a butterfly. Grass. Almost at the same time, Yang Yu and Darkrai in the shadow space both exclaimed. Brother, what's wrong? Yang Xiao, who was not far away, heard the sound and came over. When he saw the scene of the little dream demon constantly releasing ghost power, and the dumb superpower package. Sana. Gardewar, who was extremely sensitive to superpowers and ghost powers, suddenly realized something in her eyes. Is this the right way to start the little dream demon's training? Yang Yu was almost too shocked to spit out his saliva. No way, no way. Is this okay? Although the little dream demon's strength has not yet reached the gym level, it is more than a star and a half stronger than the previous ghost-type aura. After the energy package disperses, the storage space of little dream demon's ghost has been expanded. What does that mean?